You're watching TVC Breakfast, and it's time for us to take a look at the papers this morning, see what the headlines are across Nigeria. And I have with me to make sense of all of this, Chris Kane Denwandu, a journalist, and not a baby lawyer anymore.
You don't mind Chris Kane.
You know. It's good to see you.
Nice.
All right, he's the CEO of CKN News. I'm glad to have you join me.
Thank you very much.
And on Skype from Abuja is Sheson Kwade. He's one of our analysts as well and chartered accountant. Sheson, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Great. We're glad to have you join us. Now, let's hit from the Blueprint newspaper. Let's start from there. Barely 24 hours after IGP Baba takes over, gunmen hit third Imo police station, abduct Monarch, cabinet chiefs. That's the Blueprint newspaper. Barely 24 hours after IGP Baba takes over, gunmen hit third Imo police station, abduct Monarch, cabinet chiefs. We'll certainly be talking about this. And police ignored intelligence over attacks. As the ex-DSS chief is saying this, Abia government discovers explosives in Umuahia Primary School and pandemonium in Aba over gunshots, and don't politicize security threats, Okorocha tells Uzodimma. Okay, we'll look at this as we get along on the show. Now, Business Day is next, and he says global demand for talent shrinking Nigeria's manpower. Business Day says global demand for talent shrinking Nigeria's manpower. Yeah, global demand for talent, exactly. And Nigeria has a lot of them. So when the talent demand is attracting them out of the Nigerian space, of course, that's what you find. From there, let's go to Daily Times. Daily Times says clash of forces, interests in Ishekiri land, and war in Warri over Olu's throne. Okay, that's the Daily Times. Clash of forces, interest in Ishekiri land, and it's talking about war in Warri over Olu's throne. Okay, from there, let's go to the Daily Trust. Daily Trust newspaper says gunmen hit another police formation in Imo. That's Daily Trust. And Target Area Command in Abia. Raise community in Ondo. Abduct doctor, nurse in Ogun. 3 killed in Kwara, 4 along Abuja-Lokoja Highway. Nigeria's unity existence under threat. The federal government is saying this. Bandits don't deserve to live. Rufai is saying this. And that's the governor of Kaduna State. Okay, we'll talk about all of these. Daily Independent is next now, and it says Dangote flour mills questioning Buhari's authority. BUA is saying this. Dangote flour mills questioning Buhari's authority. That's the BUA saying this, and tackles them over breaching sugar policy claims, and has some other multiple riders there. That's Daily Independent. Let's go now to News Direct. News Direct says illegal forex transactions. CBN orders banks to freeze 205 accounts. Belfor Energy tops the list of that. Okay, that's News Direct in there. Okay, from there, let's go to the Punch newspaper. Punch newspaper says kidnap epidemic. Gunmen abduct 18 in Ogun, Oyo, Rivers, Imo, Katsina. Kidnappers whisk Ogun doctor, nurse away. NMA expresses concern. And gunmen kidnap Imo Monarch. 5 traditional chiefs, 2 palace guards. Katsina abducted man's corpse found after payment of ransom. Family mourns. It's really troubling. All right, that's the Punch newspaper. Tribune is next, and it says gunmen abduct Monarch, chiefs attack another police station in Imo. That's a Tribune there, and the farmer attacked student kidnapped in Ibarakwa, and 15 houses razed, or Ibarakwa rather, 15 houses razed in Ondo community. That's a Tribune. The Vanguard newspaper says insecurity, tension mounts in Imo, Abia, Rivers. Another police station attacked in Imo, 2 officers injured. Imo government fingers former governor for raging attacks. DSS alerted police Uzodimma before Imo attacks. It's not true. Imo State government is saying this. Consult me on how we kept Imo peaceful, Okorocha tells Uzodimma. All right. Several other riders there on this issue on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. The Guardian is next. Guardian says, Guardian publisher tasked Buhari on nation building. Okay, and as book on the Guardian is presented to the public. It demands a stimulus package for newspaper industry and has so many other riders there. Okay, from there let's go to the Daily Sun. Daily Sun is next, and it says insecurity responsible for breakup agitation. The federal government is saying this. All right, El Rufai accuses military police of being reactionary and bandits giving North bad name. The Arewa Consultative Forum is saying this. Okay, that's all on the Daily Sun. Let's go to the Nation newspaper, which is the last we're looking at right now. The Nation says attacks on northerners must stop. Governor warns we may retaliate against southerners. ACF cautions against risky comments. Exactly. Right. Well, these are some of the comments sometimes that they talk about, they use the word heats the polity somehow. But that's the headline on the Nation newspaper. Now, let's, I like to take it from the Blueprint newspaper. What the Blueprint says here, barely 24 hours after IGP Baba takes over, gunmen hit 3rd Imo police station, abduct Monarch and cabinet chiefs. And police ignored intelligence over attacks. Ex-DSS chief is saying this. I think that's where I like to start it from, Chris. There were reports that actually there was some intelligence reports ahead of what happened, but that the police didn't act swiftly to forestall what happened in Imo State. This is not the first time we're hearing about intelligence going ahead, but those who are responsible not acting, and then what happened happens. What do you make of this?
Mike, it's quite unfortunate. I am very sad this morning, very, very sad. And the reasons should be well known to you. My state is Imo. And
we all feel the same thing.
Yes, you know, I feel very, very sad, saddened by what is going on in my state. It has never been this bad. It has never been this bad. Imo, over the years, has been one of the most peaceful states, not only in Nigeria, but in the whole of the Southeast. But in recent time, what is happening in Imo State, I cannot know where to lay the blame. The governor came out, it all started immediately after the attack when the IGP, some of us said that the pronouncement by the former IG was so hasty in nature. When he came out immediately to say, oh, it was iPod and ESN, that.
Exactly.
Without any investigation, without any forensic investigation, without proper investigation, to just for somebody at that level to just come out. And because once you do that, you foreclose all other form of investigation. You've pigeonholed your investigation to just one source, and that itself is very, very dangerous. But the governor also came out a few days later to say, no, it wasn't iPod. So although we have agreed iPod and whatever, but there's seen some kind of political angle to it. That to me also was also hasty, because in as much as he's the chief executive officer of the state, and he must have certain information, but we shouldn't politicize what is going on in that state. Now, if you look at the proximity, Mike, if you know the proximity of where this prison is, and I find it difficult to understand how an attack in that area took place for over 2 hours and there was no response. Just within that vicinity, just about 2 minutes drive, you have the state police command, you have the government house, you have then about less than 10 minutes, you have a military command at Obinze. Which is not too far from there. And these people operated for that number of hours, and they were not challenged by either the security police or the military and the rest of them. And that gave me some kind of fear. From there, they moved to Ehimembano, which is almost an adjacent local government to mine. My local government, Ubo, has been attacked twice. The police stations, they have been attacked twice in the past. And another local government has been. So something is going on that some of us don't understand. And this is why, and it's not only Imo. You saw what happened in Ebonyi. There are big consistent attack, either by so-called Fulani or even local clashes. Then moved to Anambra, where Charles Soludo was almost killed. And there was been skirmishes in Abia, which led to the closure, the declaration of a curfew in Aba or Hafia, Umuahia. In Abia State now, you cannot move around after 8 p.m. That is how bad the situation is. And we don't know what is happening. So the situation, the insecurity situation is no longer limited to the northeast, northwest, north central. It has moved to the south, and even in the southwest, even and other places. And that is just this morning we are just getting reports of what happened in Benue.
Yeah.
I was just telling you. We just happened, and I'm just asking myself, what is going on? What is going on? And we're supposed to have a government. The essence of electing President Buhari, one of the reasons why Nigerians elected President Buhari in 2015 was because of the belief that they knew or they believed that as a former general that he would be able to the situation. But what we have is
it's really troubling because when you get all of these reports, the one from Imo State, even Ebonyi, that happened some time ago, and then even recently in Benue, what's going on in Konshisha local government and Oju local government, it's really troubling. And you go to Nasarawa State, you go to Niger, it's still,
you go to Kaduna,
in Kaduna and all of that. Let me bring in Sheson in here. Sheson, I know you've been following this development as well. And the attack on, or the strategic attack on security agencies, their institution or their offices or their person, as the case may be, like in Benue, and like CKN was saying, there was an attack on the military. You know, the military vehicle was burned and so on. What do you make of this trend that we are seeing, where it seems that there's something going on Nigerians don't understand?
Thank you very much, Mike. It's quite disheartening, and I love the choice of words, strategic attack. And when things like this happen, you ask yourself, what is the motive? If you need to get a house down, the person you need to first eat is possibly the father, who is the head of the family. And you discover that the military and the paramilitary are the people that are actually being empowered to protect us as citizens. And these are the major people that are being attacked. We ask ourselves the questions. Is it that our people, the military, are not well trained, or they are not equipped for them to repress some of these attacks on them? And that is a major one. Just look at the one in Imo, as narrated by my brother Chris, that the distance is really not too far from the state police headquarters and the government house. And these people operated for 2 hours. And we are referring, the CSO of the state is referring that was politically motivated by his predecessor. And the question is, why will we come out with such a hasty conclusion when you are the CSO? Did we in any way respond to this action when we heard about it? We've discovered that most of our leaders, the way they politicize this security issue, is getting to a fact that they themselves are getting insecure. And if they don't do anything to it, you see, every of the citizens are taken to their faith, and they are looking for alternative means of protecting themselves. And the reason of their existence, as established in the Constitution, has already failed. It's not that it's failing. There is no part of the country that is safe. Nobody can move here. My God, now those days when I would travel just for like excursion, all the way from Lagos to Abuja, all because I want to just have fun. But coming down, I felt it's not even safe to move all the way from Lagos to Ibadan, not to talk of driving all the way from Lagos to Abuja. Practically every region is unsafe. And with this, it buttresses the point that we are not just killing our people physically, but economically. Everybody is getting down the drain. Businesses are going down, because where there is no peace, there can never be prosperity. And we want to challenge the government, led by our President Muhammadu Buhari, that he should fulfill his promise as entrenched in the Constitution to provide safety and welfare for the people. Because when there is safety, definitely the welfare of the people will definitely grow. We just implore them. Nowhere is safe, Mike. Everybody is watching with their eyes open. And we don't want a situation that individual will resort to self-defense, as we are seeing, or regionalizing some of those things. It's quite disheartening that our security apparatus are the major hits. And once you decentralize or disarm them, then we, the citizen, are not safe.
All right, this is quite troubling times. And recall that the new acting Inspector General of Police, when he came on board and he was giving a speech, he said he was going to be decisive against banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, and all of those issues. And here we are, a day after he takes over, we still have a consistent follow-up of all of these kind of attacks. When it comes to the capacity of the police to handle those kind of issues, how confident are you that the change in the person, the officer who is at the helm of affairs, is going to change the trend?
Mike, I hope you've not forgotten my word, initial gragra.
I really recall that.
Good. So I hope that's not what's happening. The new acting IG has been in the system. He rose through the rank to the position of DIG before he became. So definitely he has been part of the system. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let me see what he can do. But Mike, I don't see anything new strategically that can be done presently. Mike, a few days ago, the national chairman of the Peace and Reconciliation, I can't remember his designation now, former head of state, Abduct, came out to paint a very, very terrible picture and telling us the number of arms that he thinks that is, I think it's between 6 or 8 million arms.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that he could even, they are more than that, we have more than that.
Of course.
And just like Shenson said, the problem we are having now is that people are now resorting to self-help. And that is where people are now getting arms on their own. There are so many arms in the country that you cannot even place it. There's a trending picture, video on social media. You can search for it. The vice chairman of Nigerian Bar Association, Bogolada branch, was almost killed yesterday. You need to see the way his house was attacked. And you need to see the number of bullets that were pumped into that place and the rest of them. It just took, I think it was just God that saved him. He was at home, his family were at home, the children, the wife. You can imagine that in the night. And the people were shooting and shooting, and the end of it all. But what am I saying? Just as Sheson rightly said, nobody is safe. Mike, you cannot drive from Lagos to Ibadan. In those days, you can take a pleasure that on the weekend you don't want to stay in Lagos because you want to go to Abeokuta to go and see Monarch and the rest of them. Mike, if you dare
I even recall sometime 2 years ago where I and a friend had to drive from Lagos to Ibadan just to take Amala.
That is it, back. Of course.
Because I hear Ibadan.
Yeah, you should visit me. You should. I'll take you to Amala Sky.
They said so.
To Amala Sky. I'll take you to Amala Sky at Bodija. But that is what it's supposed to be. You cannot drive from Lagos to Ibadan. In fact, the worst is driving from Lagos to... I know in those days we can move from Lagos to Benin.
Of course.
We leave Lagos at about 3-4 p.m. By 7, we're already in Benin. There are instances that where some of us risk it and even drive in the night to come back to Lagos as young students those days. You cannot move around now. And what do we have? When you talk, they say, oh, we had 16 years of a particular political party, and what did they do? Are we still talking about that? It is very, very critical that even at all levels, even the governors of the part of the ruling party, they say are still crying out. Ganduje is crying, the guy in Katsina is crying, El-Rufai is crying, and so many other. The guy in Otomi is crying, Zamfara is crying, everybody is shouting. And there seems not to be anything. We've changed service chiefs, no result. We've changed IG, no result. What is the problem? I just believe that the fundamental. I think this is the high time that the federal government needs to call. There should be a meeting. One, that of the Council of States, involving former head of state. I don't know how regular they used to, but I don't see them having those. It used to be very regular in those days.
Yeah, it used to be more regular.
You know that used to be very more regular.
More regular.
I have not seen that. I don't see this present government doing that. There's still one or two things you can tap from your predecessors. Someone like Obasanjo, someone like Abdusalami Abubakar, somebody like IBB, even Good Luck himself and the rest of them. By the time they meet, I know they have their personal wealth, but when you meet and you say this is your focus, then you make it a national. Then we also have a national conference on security. That in itself, let us call experts. Not only experts from Nigeria, even abroad, people that have a way of handling issues like this. There are businesses those in the US, the UK, and so many of these governments have said that we want to assist you. But do we have the self-will to be able to do what we are supposed to do? Because the confidence is not even there. They cannot give you the necessary assistance because they don't believe that whatever information they give you will not trickle down.
Yeah, and they will be out there.
That is lack of trust. That is the problem.
Well, Sheson, you've listened and heard what CKN is saying. The point there is, in all of this, there doesn't seem to be any urgency. There's nothing urgent. There's nothing. It seems like there's nothing at stake. And when Nigerians are agitating, governors are agitating, ministers, senators, we've heard members of the National Assembly have agitated at one point or the other concerning issues of security. And if there is no security, nothing else. Well, like I was speaking to a guest yesterday, he said, if there is no security, you're building railways, you're building bridges, you're building roads and housing and all of that. All of those things are under threat, because if someone can come with an RPG to your house and what you have built, save money to build, maybe it takes a year to build your house or whatever it is, will come down just in few minutes or few seconds. Then what's the essence? But from your perspective and all of that, it seems the government has a perfect understanding of what's good, because they give Nigerians the assurance of the fact that everything will be handled. But there doesn't seem to be any urgency to handle these things. What do you think?
Mike, it's quite pathetic that the government is not listening to us. And I say this with all sense of responsibility. If you look at the developed world, some of us have traveled. We have asked them for community policing in such a way that this one that people need to take order from Abuja all the time in securing their places, it is really not working for us. I think when issues like this happen, we need to approach it from a different perspective. We have tried using the central policing. It's not working. And we have said, let's carry out community policing. This one that individuals are resorting to self-defense is more or less like community policing. Every estate has their security apparatus in place, even with ammunition. So what are we saying? Let government decentralize this power. The fear is that most of the politicians, they know themselves. So they are saying we don't want to go that route, because if election comes, they can use it against one another. But for now, that is the route I feel. I'm not a security expert, but I've mingled with them. And they said the best thing we need to do at this point in time is to go for community policing. So that when you know yourself around your vicinity, if you see any strange personality, it can easily be nipped at the bud. This one that we have to wait for, like CKN said, we've gotten the new service chief, IGP has been changed. Rather than getting a favorable result, it keeps compounding. The problem keeps compounding. So why not let approach it from a different perspective, go the route of community policing, empower some of the vigilantes that we have, and let them secure the people. And I think we'll have a better way of doing this. But this must be attacked, because economically our people are dying day by day.
All right, and it's really troubling. We have to leave it here now. Thank you very much, Sheson Kwade, for your time on the program. Thank you for joining us on the paper review. And Chris Kendengwandu, thank you very much for coming as well.
We pray for peace.
We pray for peace in Imo State and in all of the states that we are hearing different things about.
I pray so too, and I look forward to having you in Ibadan.
No, of course, we'll go to Ibadan for the other Amala. And then we'll take you to Benue for Oko.
Oh, I would love that. You have beautiful yam.
No, of course, exactly. And you eat yam gil.
Yeah, yam
gil.
Oh, correct.
All right, you're watching TVC Breakfast.